Welcome to another episode of Sanity Sessions
with your girl Letty
and Abby. Hey.
Hey girl, hey. Hey boy, hey.
We are drinking coffee right now because we need this caffeine to kick in real quick.
Abby, I was like, are you okay? I had served her a cup of coffee and apparently it was not strong enough. And she's like falling asleep. I'm like, girl, let me make it stronger.
Oh my God. So we're on the way here and I had asked Giovanni to be like, hey, on our way to Leti's, we need to stop at Starbucks because I haven't had any coffee.
And it was like noon already.
We had to go to our eyeglass appointment. And so we were literally at the optometrist for like 3 hours.
Girl.
So I was hungry and I hadn't had any coffee. So like I remember the doctor like trying to talk to me and have a conversation. I'm sitting there just like, because I haven't had any coffee.
Nothing that you said is processing right now.
It's not registering, so bye. But yeah, so on the way here, Giovanni was like, okay, we're going to get some CJs, a.k.a. Carl's Jr.
Yeah,
for all
like,
y'all that haven't heard that episode. But so we got CJs and he's like, and then we're going to stop and we're going to get some coffee for mom because he was telling the kids what the plan was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we got CJs and then we ate that and then a producer never stopped at Starbucks. I was like, dude, I thought we were going to stop at Starbucks and have some coffee because I was dragging.
By the time you got here, it was like, what, 2 o'clock already?
I don't know. It was late.
And to not have had coffee, I don't know how you were surviving.
I turned into like, cranky person. Like, you don't even want to know me. Like, I get here and right away I told Leti, like, girl, this man did not even stop to give me coffee.
The first thing she said at Gio, she was like, I'm about to divorce this man. I'm like, he didn't get you coffee? Girl, it's done. We got the papers right here.
So, yeah, Leti coming in clutch with the coffee, the French fries.
Because
this is my second cup, by the way.
The first time it wasn't strong enough. So, I mean, she's good. You look more alive now. I mean,
yeah, I feel like I'm more alert.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm coming back.
You ready?
I'm rising from the dead.
I'm just kidding. Because we're about to party after the podcast. I'm just kidding.
I guess we're gonna stay for the Canelo fight. No, I'm just kidding.
The Canelo fight? I didn't even know there was a fight today until
I didn't either. I don't keep track on that anymore because I'm like, I am not trying to pay for no pay-per-view.
Girl, no, not in these circumstances.
I'm dead.
So what have you been up to, amiga?
Okay, so aside from work, I don't know, like I have been working some crazy hours. I'm not used to it. Like going from my prior job where I was low-key kind of bored. Like I could literally do my job in like 6 hours. Don't tell my old boss.
Yeah, because you would be done like super
I would be done all the time. Like, and I was, a salaried employee, which means I wasn't eligible for overtime. So regardless of what I worked, like, I would get paid my full salary. And I'm like, okay, like if I'm done, like, okay, I'll just, clean this or wash dishes. But now I'm like online for like 10 hours a day or whatever. And I mean, at least now at this job, I'm eligible for overtime.
Right, which is good.
So, I mean, I don't mind that.
You're a cute little
check. I'm already making plans for this week's OT.
Yeah, like I think that would be hard because even right now, like it's rare when I have to work like more than 8 hours.
It's really rare, yeah.
Job. So if I had to go from like working like 8 or less hours to going from like 10 or even 12-hour days, like that would be rough.
Like my mom saw me yesterday, she was like, "Girl, you look tired." I was like, "Yeah, I was tired." I remember singing a song and I couldn't even hit the high note because I was so tired. It was so flat.
Have you increased your coffee intake now that you started this job? Really?
I think I have. Like, so do you want to know what my schedule is?
Yeah.
So I wake up.
Like your coffee schedule?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you my coffee schedule.
I was like your work schedule?
No, my coffee schedule.
Okay, dime.
So y'all know that Giovanni got me that little like Ninja coffee, whatever, this fancy little brewery station. It's not a brewery station.
I'm like, girl, call it. I'm like,
what is it?
We need to put a
coffee. I don't know. Oh, a barista.
Oh.
I'm like, girl, yes. Y'all, I'm a barista now, and so the first thing I do, like every morning, right? Like I get ready because it's a new job, so I'm not trying to look like tirada first thing in the morning.
You need to wait a little bit.
Yeah. So after a month, I mean, I'm not going to care. But, yeah, so, like, I wake up and then, you know, I start making my little coffee. I grind the beans, you know, because it's fresh.
Yeah.
And then.
Because if you don't grind your coffee beans, are you really a coffee
I mean,
drinker?
are you? No.
We're all coming for the people with the Keurigs. Like, with that we didn't used to have them.
I used to have a Keurig. I loved it. But I can't go back after French press or pour over. Like, I cannot. But, yeah, so, like, I'll make it first thing in the morning, and I make a pot just for, like, me and Giovanni, because Giovanni apparently drinks coffee now. He used to, like, not drink coffee, but now, yeah, he has to drink coffee.
He's addicted as well.
Yeah, he's already accustomed to it. So, like, I'll make a pot, and then I serve a cup for him, a cup for me. And I don't know about you, but, like, that first cup of coffee in the morning, like, hits different.
Girl, I always think, like, the cup of coffee on like a Friday morning hits different than any other days because you know it's Friday.
It's Friday, I don't know. It's like for me that like first cup of coffee, I feel like maybe that's an addiction. Like that's when you know it's an addiction when you look forward to it first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I think it
like, forget my kids, forget my husband. Where's my coffee?
All the drug users are like, yeah, you're definitely addicted.
And then I'll always like brew like an extra like half pot because I know that one I'm gonna come back in a couple hours for another cup.
Yeah.
And then I have I don't finish it, but like I have a cup in the afternoon too. And I feel like, ooh, like.
So what is that? Just 2 cups?
Like 3.
Oh, so you upped it. Okay,
yeah.
Because before I think you used to do 2,
I
right?
think I used to do like 1.5 to 2, yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm like, oh, well, I need that extra hit.
It's because
like,
you're working more hours. So it's justified.
Yeah, so it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm like, okay, about to go get my 3rd cup. And that's it. Like, that's it for the day, you know?
Yeah, I've only done 2, but to people who like don't drink coffee regularly, like 2 is a lot, but I feel like 2 is normal, right? Like, we're all justifying our addiction.
Like, don't come for us because we're normal.
Yeah, no, but I mean 3. I mean, I don't know.
Like
that's a lot.
I think at some point I started thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, those are unnecessary calories that I should drink more water. Right. Is what I'm thinking. And so I want to try to phase out my afternoon cup, but just wait until like I get used to my new schedule. Yeah. I think you need to give it some time. What about you, amiga? What's new with you?
I've been so busy. Like we said on the last podcast, like I took over a lot of like your stuff. Yeah. So your girl has been working more. The only bad thing is that I don't get paid overtime. I'm like, I don't get paid overtime, but I really haven't been doing much. Like, I don't even think I've really been watching TV. I've just like lately I've been feeling like a little tired, and I don't want to disclose why, but like your girl tired lately. But that's basically it. Like, I haven't been doing much.
Mama, speaking of watching TV, like, why did I start watching 1,000 Pound Sisters?
I told you were going to get addicted before you got here. I was like, I need to check if there's one more episode. Girl, I should have turned it off.
Like, why is Tammy there?
What do you think? Tell me what you think. It's funny, right?
So like,
don't come for my girl Tammy.
Look,
I'm just kidding.
So like, I was like, I'm going to watch the show. I want to see what it's about. And like, I like to watch shows like that because I feel like it checks me. And like, girl, I need to stop like making excuses like they're making excuses to overeat. You know, like I need to stop to have cheat day. Like I need to like get more on focus. And I feel like watching shows like that like reminds me like, girl, you trying to get there? No, so cut it. You know,
I'm the opposite. I'm like, if I ever get there, if I ever get there, there's love for someone everywhere. I'm like, I'm good, honey. Carlos, you don't want me like this? Somebody will. I'm just kidding.
No, I remember like seeing a Felipe Esparza show, and he's like, if I ever get that big, just shoot me or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, I used to say that like, when I was younger. But yeah, so first off, the first season was a little short. Not I had like 6 episodes or something. Like it was short.
I think, yeah, it probably was short. But I watched it like once the second season was out, so I didn't have to wait. So I didn't even notice like, you know, how short it was.
No, I noticed that the first season was short. I'm like, wow, it's already ending. But, girl, I just was like, I don't know, one, if I would sacrifice that much for a sister, you know?
Dude, I don't know how far you've got, but like, Amy is a real one. Even her husband, like,
yes,
to have to push Tammy around.
One, he has to like be the driver, right? And then he has to carry all the luggage. And then he has to always put away the wheelchair and the freaking like baston that she uses, right?
The walker.
The walker.
The baston.
But I'm like, dude, like, I don't know how she found this guy, but this fool loves her because he, like, freaking does everything for both of them.
Both of them. Yeah, I know. I feel like, I don't know. Have you seen the second season?
I started the second season.
Because then the brother comes into play too, right?
Yes,
everybody,
I saw
like,
that.
the whole family is, like, rooting on Tammy so that she can lose weight because the doctor told her, like, I don't know if you got there, but, like, he told her, like, if you have 5 years of life if you don't get it together. Like, once you can become bedridden, like, that's it, you know? Like, everything just goes downhill from there. And even the brother's getting on board. Like, I be watching the show with Carlos, and I'm like, dude, the brother's a real one. Like, he gets her a personal trainer for the both of them, right?
Yeah.
To motivate her. Pero la Tammy, dude, like, just excuse after excuse.
I swear I can't. Like, I think watching it, like, it irritated me. Like, one, how she talks to Amy.
I know,
right?
yeah.
Which Amy doesn't have to do all this for her, but she does it because, you know, like, they only had each other growing up, right? And I'm like, dude, like, I would not take that from no family member, not even my mom, you know? And she's just like, I don't know. But then again, like, Amy, I've noticed, like, in the second season, she's starting to use excuses too, like her baby and everything. And I'm like, dude, you guys, like, you cannot be using these crutches. And then I get frustrated, like, oh my God, these women. Like,
I'm like, I'd be using those same, I'm not the baby crutch, right? But, like, I'd be using crutches too. But yeah, like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know, like, I have a close relationship with, like, my sister. Hi, Claudia.
Hey, girl.
This is how we're going to know if you listen to the episode. But I could not talk to her the way that they talk to each other. Like, even, like, she's my only sister, right? But, and with them too, like, how you said, like, they only had each other growing up. But, like, the way she talks to her, it sometimes makes me mad. And, like, people, like, online, like, and they'll say it on the episode, like, give Tammy hate because of how she treats, like, Amy.
Yeah.
After everything, because she low-key puts her life on hold because of her.
She does.
And I'm like, it's not Tammy.
I can't. Like,
but they're funny, though.
I mean, they're
like,
funny. Their jokes are funny. Like, their freaking videos, I can't.
Have you ever watched a YouTube video? You need to watch, like...
No, I haven't actually seen the videos. I'm like, I don't know. But
they're funny. No, I can't get enough of that show. Like, Abby said, she saw it when I was here. Like, I was like, they need to have another episode. Like,
I was dying with, like, Tammy, like, on the first episode when her man, like, came up and went to go see her in Atlanta.
Oh my!
I was like, what?
¿Cómo se llama su novio? Jerry. Dude, I couldn't believe it because my sister was watching it before me. Like, she had got, like, I think she had watched the whole first season, and she's like, yeah, like, her boyfriend comes and, like, they have sex. I'm like, no, sister. She's like, sister, she even has hickeys. I'm like, no.
She took a picture with the hickeys, like, proof. I don't know. But I was like, girl, I can't. Like, I was like, look, I'm just going to go throw up right now.
I thought it was so funny. And she was like, we made love. Like, she's telling the cameras. I'm on, get it, Tammy. Get it, girl.
No, but, like, I was disappointed because I felt like the first season ended so positive. Like, the last episode of the first
when
season,
they did
I was
the reveal.
like, dang, like, Tammy, like, she got down to one. Or,
Amy.
No, Tammy, she got down to 550, right?
Yeah.
And then Amy, obviously, she lost, like, over 100 pounds. Like, you could see the difference and everything. And so then starting the second season, and I'm like, homegirl is using the pandemic as, like, an excuse.
Come on, me.
And then I'm like, dude, like, you didn't go out before, you
That's
know?
true.
And then... not only that, like, then Amy goes and gets pregnant, and I'm like, are you freaking serious?
Yeah. I feel like the second season everything went downhill.
Yeah, I started, like, discouraged. So I was like, oh, and, like, I thought I was going to start the episode, and it was going to be, like, Tammy getting her surgery. And no, it was, like, the opposite.
Yeah, and I follow her on TikTok, and a lot of people encourage her. Like, dude, Carlos and I are so invested that when the first season ended, he was like, text Tammy, like DM her and ask her when the second season's coming out. Girl, you know I did. I'm all, hey, girl. Because she responds to, like, the people who
did she respond to you?
No, to me. Hella said, I'm all, you fake, Tammy. No, but I messaged her.
That's why you giggled that way. I'm just kidding.
I mean, no, but, like, on TikTok, like, people are really supportive. Of course, you're always going to have people who are negative, right?
Yeah.
But, like,
sure.
even when I messaged her, I was like, hey, like, my boyfriend and I really watch you. Like, we enjoy this show.
Yeah,
like,
we're invested in your journey.
Yeah, I really was. And I was like, I hope, you get the surgery soon. But she left left me. No, she didn't even leave me on red. She didn't even read it. But like a lot of people are like supporting her. Like I said, even her family is like getting behind her. Like
which I saw that. Like
healthy.
I haven't got like too deep into the second season. I want to say I'm like on the 3rd episode.
I'm going to get it together. There's
yeah, I noticed that the brother, like I saw him in kind of like earlier in the season, and I see him like how Amy said, that's like a father figure for them.
Right.
So, I mean, and the way he is, like, he keeps it real with both of them, and they both, like, respect what he's saying. And I feel like him, like, joining in on the journey, because, I mean, he's a big guy, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think he was, like, over 400.
I can't remember, but I think it runs in their family.
Yeah, like, most of their family is big.
Yeah.
Really big. But, like, yeah, I just thought, like, that was good, you know, that I haven't seen like how far they worked together. I just saw the part where he was like, I'm going to do this diet with you because it was a wake up call to me that if you only have 5 years left, he's like, I'm not too far behind you, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think like Dr. ¿Cómo se llama?
Which one? The first one or the second
one? No, the doctor.
One?
The first
Dr.
one.
Dr. Proctor?
Yeah, Dr. Proctor, like calling out Amy and everything because she was using all those excuses like, when I was watching it and she's all eating like sour gummies with like pasta and stuff, I was like, girl, I cannot.
Oh, yeah. She was like, he's saying it was her cravings, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, dude. And then he was right. He goes, your baby isn't craving that. Your baby is craving like nutritious food so that he, you know, he can grow. I'm assuming it's a boy because they keep saying he.
Yeah, it's a boy.
It's a boy, right?
Yeah, my age. I'm all invested. I know his social security.
Is he already born?
I think so. I don't know. I need to stalk her on social media.
But yeah, like I was just like, I'm sitting there getting like annoyed and everything because I'm like, dude, like when the pandemic started, Johnny and I started keto. That's when we started keto. We started, it'll be a year next month. And I'm like, we didn't use that excuse, like that we were stuck in the house, we couldn't go anywhere. Like I think we just started riding our bikes.
Yeah, you guys did.
And we started getting out, in which we fell off the bike wagon, so we need to get back on it, Johnny.
There's bikes right there. We're going on a bike ride. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, like that's one of my goals is to get back active on the bikes because we enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, you guys were like really on it. Like I mean, there's always gonna be excuses, right? Like even I've had every excuse in the book. Like, I'm not as motivated as Abby. But yeah, I mean, like, I think once, like, especially for, like, Tammy, like, when they tell you, like, your life is in jeopardy, like, I mean, that should be a reality check,
wake you up? Like, how? Because if somebody told me, like, if you don't lose weight and get this surgery, you're going to die in 5 years, like, think about it. 5 years is not that long.
No, it's not.
Not at all. So, I mean, I hope they get it together. But yeah, I'm going to catch up on the second season. But I'm like, girl, you need to stop because I'll be watching it. And then, like, Giovanni will be like, babe, you know, you can turn it up. Like, he starts to listen
Giovanni tries to act like you're not invested. No, I don't know. Like, when my sister told us about it, like, I'm surprised because Carlos, he's, like, really picky with what shows he watches. Like,
what is he mostly into? Like
sports, girl. He's a typical hombre.
Oh, okay.
But we have, like, a few shows that we watch together. And when he got on board with that one right away, like, he, like, is such a fan. And, like, my sister, too, like, we love that. I think it's funny. It's really funny. But, like, in all honesty, like, I'm hoping that, you know, both of them, like, get it together.
Yeah.
Especially Tammy, because, like, I follow her on TikTok, and now she has, like, what are those things called, like, to help you breathe, like an oxygen?
Oh, she has an oxygen?
Yeah, but she looks thinner, like, Carlos was telling me, he's like, she looks thinner on the TikTok, so I don't know.
Apparently maybe it's a filter.
I don't know.
They came for, what's her name? Jenner? No, Kendall Jenner, because they said, like, she was using a slimming filter.
Oh, I need that one. Girl,
I was like, tell us what it was because we'll take it real quick. No, just kidding.
Like, girl, tell me which one because I need it.
I'm like, dude, but honestly, like, I feel like everybody on social media will, like, nitpick and notice everything.
Dude, yeah, there's so much negativity in social media. That's why amigos and amigas don't ever come for us. Yeah, like I was looking at one of the influencers who like we both follow it, and then he was saying like people who like leave hate, it's because they're not content with themselves. Like
it's true,
girl. Like I don't ever have time to write something negative.
I don't either. I think the most I do, like I rarely comment, but I like a lot of things.
Yeah,
like
lately I've been commenting because sometimes people will respond. Like Princess May, one time I was like, girl,
did she respond to you?
Yeah, she did.
How are you?
I know. I told everybody. I'm like, Princess May responded to me.
For all y'all who don't know, that's Bremen Rock's sister.
Like, I think she posted a video and I was like, girl, who is she? And then, like, I can't remember what she responded, but then she responded to me. I was like, so I'd be commenting, like, but only, like, positive things. Like, nothing bad. Like, but no, there's haters out there. So
there are.
Our amigos and amigas will never hate on us.
Yeah.
Only constructive criticism.
Yes. We welcome constructive criticism.
Yeah, we
if
really
you're going to
do.
be a hater, just, I don't know. What do my kids say on their YouTube channel? If you don't like it, go watch something else or something like that.
It's true. It's really true. But I really like that show, like how the brother is really supportive. And I think, like, you know,
I think it takes a lot of support, too. Like, I know, like, when Giovanni and I, we've been on keto for a while, and our family understands that. Like, even Leti, she's like, girl, I have this so you can drink it. And everyone's supportive. They're like, I know you can't eat this, but, you know, I got this for you guys. And I feel like you need that support.
You really
like,
do.
You can't have your family enable you to cheat. Like, it has to be where they're, like, there's healthy options for you. And so that it makes it more of like inclusive. So, I mean, if you guys are on diets, just make sure that you let your family know. And I know, like, my mom and my brothers will be like, oh, okay, so are you on keto? And yeah, we're going to be on keto that day. Okay, so I will make veggies. I'll make chicken. And then if you want to make cauliflower, like, they, like, you know, they'll eat what we eat that day, you know? So just, you know, support your fam that's trying to get healthy and in shape.
Or whatever the case may be. Like, I feel like with, like, my family, some of them are, you know, they like to drink. And I'm about to say the least, they like to drink. But, like, with Carlos, like, he's, like, like, you put alcohol in front of him, like, he doesn't know when to stop. So, like, I don't like when people encourage it, you know, like, if somebody tells you, like, hey, I don't want it, or if you know, like, the background, then don't encourage it, you know, like, just because.
Don't push it. Just respect boundaries.
Yeah, respect it. If somebody doesn't want to drink, or if they're eating something different than you are, like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. Like, we try to teach Destiny, too, because, like, she's not okay with people eating meat. So when you're eating a steak, like, she's sitting there, like, judging you. She's 8, by the way. I'm like, and my sister tries to tell her, like, if you don't like it, it's okay. Like, you don't need to make any comments to me. Like, you just, you know, if you don't want to eat meat, you don't have to. But don't make other people feel bad for eating it. I'm like, so I paid a lot of money for this steak, girl.
Let me enjoy it.
I know. Yeah. But it does really take, like, what do they say? Like, it takes a village to raise kids. Same thing with, like, you know, diets or whatever the case may be. But
it's a lot of support.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But how was your childhood, amiga? Tell me what it was like growing up. Because
so I feel like I was talking about this yesterday with my mom, and we were, like, you know,
shout out to your mother.
I know, my mom.
Hi, Mom.
And, like, our women's study that we have, like, on Fridays. And so we were talking about, like, so there was this, we call him hermana, so the sister that came on. And she was talking about, like, her rough childhood, like, everything before, you know, she decided to go to church. And, like, change her life and everything. And that, like, you know, she was always surrounded by violence because, you know, her mom would always find that abusive man and they would beat on her mom, and then sometimes they would beat on her. And that, like, she was in gangs, and that her husband, who she's with now, like, at that time they were dating, and that they were abusive, and, like, it got to the point where it was like her or him. Like violent. And I'm like, girl, like, I've grown up with him my whole life. I had never known that they were ever, like,
oh, you knew both of them?
Yeah, like, I grew up with them, like, in church, and we grew up, like, our families grew up, and I was like, I had no idea. Like, I'm barely finding out yesterday, right? And I'm like, I would have never known because I met her husband. Like, we grew up with them, and they were the nicest people.
Really? Like,
the nicest people, dude. And we were close with their kids. And I was like, I had no idea. So then I started to appreciate my upbringing. So, you know, like, I was born, obviously, into a Christian family. And my dad and my mom, so both of them had been married before. So they both had prior marriages, and so I do have, like, a stepbrother who I just consider him my brother because he's my mom's son from another marriage. And then my dad, he has 2 daughters from a previous marriage. One who's still in El Salvador.
You've always told me you had other siblings, but
Yeah.
I don't know why right now when you're telling me that they've had a previous marriage, like I never put those 2 together. I don't know why. I was just like, oh, she has like, but okay.
Yeah, so I have 2 stepsisters. I'm Cinderella. No, I'm just kidding.
They made you clean,
Scrub the floors. And then I met my friend Giovanni. Hey, boo. No, I'm just kidding.
Giovanni's like,
But,
no. His face is like, it's only different.
No reaction.
No.
But yeah, so I have 2 stepsisters, which are my dad's daughters, and so so one of the sisters is still in El Salvador. She never came. He could never immigrate her because she ended up changing her name, and they changed her birth certificate to my dad's sister, so they couldn't bring her because of that. And then he did bring my other sister, who my mom like would take care of since she was like 8, but they had so many problems. And speaking of, like, my mom went to El Salvador with like my dad's brother because my dad couldn't go because he wasn't legal at that time.
Okay.
So she went to a country she's never been to go get
Your
his
mom's
daughter.
a real one.
And she took my brother, which you met him, the baker.
Yeah.
And he was a baby at the time. And yeah, she had to go like smuggle my sister into the country.
Wow.
I'm like, we should get her on the episode to talk about that because that's a crazy story. But yeah, so that's how she came over, and then they ended up legalizing her and everything. But I don't know, like with everything that happened, like in her childhood, they always had problems, you know, and so she has, you know, a lot of mental illness and schizophrenia and all that stuff. So I don't really talk to her.
Yeah.
I know she memorized my mom's number, so my mom still talks to her and everything. And of course, it's always like kind of toxic, you know. She's always asking for money or, you know, so it's not a good relationship, which is kind of why I don't really have a relationship with her. But I did grow up with like my other brother, so me and my brother are both my parents,
right?
So we were kind of closer because we're just like 2 years apart. But we were always close and we always got along, even though we did fight, but we always got along.
Yeah, that's
so at least I always
had
him. And then my parents, like, they always had like, yes, they would argue, like, and I remember one time where they argued and my dad left, and I don't know where he went to go stay, but I remember like my mom just crying and crying and crying. And then my oldest brother, who is my mom's son, right? My oldest brother, like, he was living with us at the time, and he was just telling her, like, Mom, it's okay. Like, you still have me. But it was like, but there's not the same as your husband, right? But I mean, like, there's only a little bit of time that I can remember that my parents argued. It never got that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I know that I was blessed enough to be in a family where they showed affection. They always told you that they loved you, and, yeah, and they were always like, I saw a positive marriage. Like, I saw, and, you know, and my dad passed away. And, of course, they were married until he passed away. Yeah. So, you know, like, that was it for them. So I'm like, you know, I wanted to meet my soulmate, too. And I think, like, seeing that example and living in it and being surrounded by it. And I told my mom, I was like, I think that, like, set me up to where when I started to be in relationships, I knew what was okay and what wasn't. Right, and I had like high expectations. I had high standards because of what I was exposed to as a child, right? And so I didn't settle for less. But I know that like in my relationship with Giovanni, you know, I had to learn. And because I don't know why I was just such an angry kid. I was an angry kid. Like, even growing up in that environment, and I think it was because my parents were so strict. They were extremely strict on me. And so, like, I was just waiting for the chance to fly. Like, as soon as I turned 18, I was like, I was just waiting. I mean, later on, now I know, like, they only had my best interest at heart.
Yeah, but when you're young,
but when you're there, you're like, no, they're trying to suffocate me. I can't, you know?
And those words, I'm sure you said.
Yes, I did. Too. And I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, you guys are really strict. And I know she had her reasons for being strict. And it was because she experienced stuff when she was younger, and she didn't want me to go through that. So I know it was that. So I realize that now, but back in the day, like, I was just angry. I was just really angry. I rebelled a lot. And I mean, growing up in church and being a musician and everything, you would think like I would bypass that stage in my adolescence, but no, like I didn't. Like it got to me. Like, it really got to me. I remember I remember starving at some point, like just to lose weight. Yeah. I think I actually remember exactly what I would eat. So this is what I would eat like in a day. So for the morning, I would have a bagel, right? A bagel with cream cheese. And I looked forward to that bagel like every morning.
Those are the carbs you were having.
It was in high school, yeah. So I would eat it in a class. Like in my first class, I'd be eating my bagel. And then for lunch, I would just eat an apple. I think an apple with milk. Like that's what I would eat. And then for dinner, like I would only eat like cheeses with cream cheese because to this day I love cheeses with cream cheese. And I'd be like, I'm like, that's really good though.
We have cheeses.
But yeah, like at some point I was just starving myself and I don't know why. Like, and so being hungry and then going through all those changes, like with your body and your emotions, like I was just
on top of like really you probably trying to experience the same things that like people your age were like going through, like going to parties and your parents.
And I wasn't allowed to. You know, like I couldn't even go to football games because we had church on Fridays.
Oh no.
Like so I feel like I missed a lot. I didn't even go to prom because I wasn't allowed to go to dances.
Really?
And like looking back, I'm like, oh, like do I regret it? Yeah, I guess I do because I can never say that I went to prom.
I didn't go to prom either, amiga, but like it was not for those reasons. But like, I mean, I understand. That makes sense. Like because, and I understand like your mom was trying to protect you. But like my parents always said like my mom was a little more lenient, but for the same reason was because she knew if she was too strict, like it's almost like worse. Like you know?
So I think like because her parents were not strict. So then like she was like, no, I'm going to be strict.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, but you were too strict, you know, like
I like a balance.
Yeah, there has to be a balance. And I mean, I know I'm somewhat strict with my kids, but I don't think I'm going to hold them back from things they want to do, whether it's like, you know, and I get it, you know, like you have your Christian faith and there's things that, you know, are good and bad or maybe are questionable because they might be more like worldly, but then it's like, look, I want my kids to make those decisions for themselves and I'm not going to like guilt trip them out of it or anything like that, or just, you know, but I don't know, like, I think for the most part, like for me, that type of upbringing, like that was a rough phase in my life. And so I think that going through that, and then I think I got over starving myself. But I got really, really skinny and pale, like super pale. Like I see pictures and I'm like, good God, what was I thinking? And then, so then like getting with Giovanni, like, I remember we were talking about it last night because we stayed up last night just talking, like literally talking of when we first met. Yeah. And then like, Giovanni, but why didn't you like talk to me, or why did you talk to this person? Like we were just talking about like I like put something like ojeras like back into my eyes.
Yeah, we were just
talking.
I'm just kidding.
And he was telling me like, man, you like treated me really bad, and I was like, I did, I really did, and I don't know where all that anger came from. Or what, and I know, like, I didn't appreciate him, and I was like, but I didn't grow up like that. Like, I didn't grow up with that example. Like, why was I like that? Yeah. And I don't know. Like, to this day, I'm like, why was I like that? Why was I so angry? There was nothing I needed to be angry about.
The good thing is that you realize that, because I can say that, too. Like, with Carlos, like, the other day, he was like, remember, because, well, of course, now we live together. And he was like, remember when I used to drive to you like every day? And it was like an hour drive, like from here to Visalia. Yeah. Yeah, like he would get off of working like a 12-hour shift.
Oh my God, that's love.
I'm like, girl. And he would still drive. And like I look back now that we live together and I'm like, wow, I was so ungrateful. Like, ¿quién me creía, dude? Like
I remember you would tell me about like pettiness.
Yeah. I'm still petty now, but even then I'm
at least he doesn't have to drive.
Now I'm like, I'd be leaving like doing petty stuff to like trigger him, and I know that's bad, but it's like I gotta spice it up differently. I'm like, I gotta be toxic somehow. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but like I think it's important, like how you said, like, you know, you don't, even if you don't know where all that anger came from or like why you were so ungrateful, like it's good to like realize like, hey, that's how I was, and in order to be better.
Like I remember asking Giovanni, like I was like, okay, but I'm not like that now. He's like, no. I go, I treat you good now, right?
He's
like,
yeah, you treat me good. Yeah. You saw, you better say yes or te pego. I'm just kidding.
But I mean, like, but I told my mom, I go, you know, Mom, I will say, like, I didn't realize that, you know, domestic violence and, you know, parents who don't show affection or like kids not feeling loved, like it's common. And a lot of times that leads to like, you know, violence later in life or, you know, depression that they have or, you know, issues with relationships. And I was just like, like, I didn't realize how fortunate I was, that, thank God I just never experienced domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
I was never in a relationship where I was ever scared for myself or anything like that. And, like, I feel like that's the reason why, I ended up with a guy like, Giovanni.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like even my mom would be like, Giovanni, he's like a good one. He's a really good one.
Your mom knew from the beginning.
She did.
Yeah, it does have a lot to do with like the way that you grow up and how like it affects your relationship. Even if you don't know, like Carlos and I talk about this, like how I see how his family is, and his family and my family are completely different.
Yeah.
Because my family, we're really close. And with his family, like he can go like days without or weeks without talking to like his mom or like his sisters. And I talk to my sister, my siblings, like at least like, I don't know, like Claudia, I talk to her like once a day. I'm like, I get mad when she doesn't answer me. I'm like, how dare you not pick up my call? And he's the same way. And I'm like, you can't let that stuff like good stuff, yes, but like you can't let it affect your current relationship, right? Because like with my parents,
how did you grow up on me?
I'm like, we're completely different. My mom didn't work. So my mom was like a stay-at-home mom. My parents immigrated here from Mexico. So when my dad's always worked. I mean, now he's retired, but I'm like, he's lazy now. I'm just kidding. But no, like my dad would always work, and he was very machista. Like he's super machista. Like whatever my dad said.
Oh, I realized the word is egotistic.
Egotistic?
Yeah.
That sounds like so smart. My dad was egotistic. I'm going to tell him, how dare you, ¿cómo puedes ser egotistic? He was laughing.
He's like, ¿qué?
He'd be like, ¿qué, mija? No, but yeah, my dad, whatever, like, girl, I tell people now, I was like, dude, we were little soldiers growing up. Like, my parents were really strict. Like, I don't know now. Like, then I'm like, wow, they were strict. But now I'm like, I'm glad they were like that because of that, we have manners. Like, you know, it very much, like, influences how you are today. But my dad he was super machista. My mom didn't work. So whatever my dad said that was, like, the law,
that
right?
Was the law.
Yeah. So, my mom was stay-at-home mom. Like, she thankfully, was able to stay home with us, until we got to a certain age. And then homegirl got a job, my mom. And once my mom got a job, she started becoming more independent. And that's kind of where things went, like, south for my parents. Because
when I independent.
Yeah, my mom became INDE. I'm just kidding. And my dad didn't like that. Like, my parents always showed us, like, a lot of love and affection. But, like, once my mom started, like, getting a job, my dad didn't like it because she was making her own money. Like, at one point, my dad tried to tell, my mom tells me this now, we laugh, but, I mean, then I wasn't a laughing matter. He would tell my mom, like, dame tu cheque, like, give me your check, like, for her first check. And my mom, thankfully, she had, like, a friend at work, who was like, why are you going to give this man your check? Like, did he come here and work for the check? Or, like, you know, and, like, so my mom started, like, you know, like, standing up to my dad. So once that started, like, girl, like, my parents would always, like, be arguing. Like, you can tell when they wouldn't always argue in front of us, but you can tell when they were not happy, because even sitting down at the dining table, like, it was awkward, you know, like,
and there's tension.
Yeah, like, you better eat all your food and your tortilla.
And don't say
yeah, because you must be like, my dad is on edge right now.
He's just waiting for an excuse to spank you.
He's like, te voy a mandar calientita a la cama. I'm just kidding. Thankfully, I didn't really get hit, but, like, my other siblings, they did get a little worse. Like, if we bring, like, Claudia or my older brother, like, on the podcast, like, they have a totally different version of how we grew up, right? Because everybody grows up, like, everybody has a different version, even if you grew up in the same household. But yeah, like, my dad, he was, I don't know, like, even now, like, I look back and I'm like, dang, I don't know how he survived, because honestly, my mom tells me now, like, we stayed together so long because of you guys. And I'm like, Mom, because around, like, high school, they split up. And honestly, when they split up, amiga, I was so happy. I was like, because it was hard. Like, I don't know, well, you don't know what it's like to, like, you know, like, you ask your parents something and you know they're mad, and it's like, ve preguntarle a tu mamá. But, like, it's because they don't want, like, you would be like, can I go here? And then it's like, no, like, ve preguntar a tu mamá. And, like, they don't want to say yes because they're both mad at each other instead of, like, talking through things, right? So it was, like, very much that for, like, once I was older, like, I understood, like, my parents are mad, like, stuff is not good between them.
And kids can tell. Like,
yeah, they can.
They
really can. And thank God my mom was able to, like, you know, become independent because that also made her, like, you know, start standing up to my dad. And my dad knew, like, okay, I can't, like, control this lady anymore. So eventually my parents did end up splitting up. But like I said, that was for the best. Like, I know my mom's, like, que bueno, like, she was a lot happier. And honestly, I want to say that maybe he was too, like, because fighting all the time is exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes more energy to be mad at somebody
it does.
than to just get over it.
Yeah, it does. And, yeah, so I even tell my mom, like, why did you stay so long? Like, we would have when they split up, we were fine. Like, my mom was already working. My dad was still helping, like, with, like, some of the bills because I'm like, he also made us. I'm just kidding. So he got to pay that child support. Yeah, my mom put child support. My parents were petty, like, for a long time. Like, I remember even being in college and I got a scholarship from, like, the company my dad worked for. And my parents, we had to go to the scholarship dinner. It was so awkward.
Oh,
like, I thought they were going to, like, throw down. Because they could never be civil with each other.
Why?
Like, okay, so my brother, sorry, brother, I'm going to call you out. My brother didn't want to work for a long time, but my dad is, like, super machista. Like, tienes que trabajar.
Like, hombre, tienes que trabajar,
like, you have to work. You're a man. Like, you have to work. And my brother, at that time, he just wasn't about that life. And my dad one time tried to talk to my mom about it. And, like, because my mom would kind of, like, enable him, but I think she was low-key enabling him to, like, get back at my dad, to make him mad, you know?
She's like, no, mijo, you don't have to work.
Yeah. Yeah, she really was, like, low-key. So one time my dad, I remember, like, he called her and they were like, well, what are we going to do about our son, you know? And my mom, like, I remember she was like, she told him, like, he's going to work when he wants to. I was like, girl. But then my dad got so mad that he just, like, hung up on her. So when we had to go to the scholarship dinner, I didn't want to go. And neither did my parents. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I was dreading it because, like, we even had to sit at the same table. And
you're like, can I just send her to another family?
I know. I'm like, girl, I remember, like, even, like, yeah, but thankfully my parents were always civil. Like, they didn't, like, cause a scene at that scholarship dinner, but it took my parents a long time to, like, get over the pettiness.
It's always like those Latin parents where they're like, wait till we get home.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. It really was. Like, and honestly, like, we look back now and, like, my parents, now we can have, like, Christmas together, but it was hard. I mean, like, even though, like, my parents decided to split up and my mom was a lot happier and we were a lot happier too because my dad wasn't there to be as strict. Like, my mom has always been, like, the more modern, more liberal one. Like, she did let us go out to, like, you know, wherever we wanted to. But, like, now I'm like, girl, like, if you guys would have stopped all this pettiness, like, yeah, you guys aren't together anymore and that's okay. Like, you can still, like, raise the kids together. And I see, like, some of my parents, I see some of my friends who their parents aren't together, but they still, like they're even friends with, like, the new spouse. And I'm like, dang, like, that's, like.
Have your parents found somebody else?
So my mom dated for, like, a long time. And also, like, nunca se le pegó a alguien. Like, I'm like, she never really, like, got, she did. She kind of did, like, make a life.
Well, how long did they separate? Like, how long have they been separated?
I don't know, girls. I was in high school, so it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. My dad, like, he's never introduced us to, like, a new girl or anything. But I'm sure he probably had a fling somewhere.
I'm sure.
I'm like, it's been too long. I'm like, Dad, give us the cheese. But now, like, thankfully, like, I'm so happy that we're able to share, like, you know, if we have, like, my niece and my nephew's birthday, like, they'll both be there. Now they talk to each other. Because, like, holidays were hard. Like, we would have to, like, go with my dad's, like, in the morning, like, Thanksgiving, we'd have, like, an early Thanksgiving at his house. And then in the night, we would be, like, with my aunt and, like, the rest of my family. But honestly, I would take that over, like, an awkward dinner any day. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like that had any impact, like, on your relationship?
Yeah, I think it does. Like, a little bit. Like, because I don't know where I got it from. Like, I'm trying to think if my mom was a yeller, but my dad was, because I've been raising my voice all the time.
I got it from one of them. That's all I know.
I swear I have kids, because, like, the way you yell at your kids, that's how I yell at everybody. What? Oh, just kidding. I'm like, just kidding. No, but like, I'm like, yeah, no, it really did, because, and I tried to not let like the negative stuff that I saw my parents go through affect me. And of course, like, I like to get advice from like you and our other homegirl, who she was not being named. We didn't get enough permission, because yeah, like you said, like,
she didn't sign an NDA.
Yeah, she did not. Like how you said earlier, like it's almost like more exhausting to like be mad than like to just be
really
like,
is.
Girl, like,
I know when I try to stay mad at Giovanni, like, he's the first one to kind of be like, oh, babe, you know I love you. And I'm always like, no, get away from me. Like, so I get all mad, but it's like, oh my God, it takes extra energy for me not to talk to him than to just talk to him.
Yeah, it does. And what did I hear the other day on like a social media? It's like, you should fight about stuff that like matters, you know, not like the petty stuff. Like I like to, I'm a culprit of that. Like, I'm like, you didn't put the towel back where you're supposed to. Why? It's right there. Like, there's no, I see no point in that, you know, but, I definitely don't like, cause my dad was super machista or egotistic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't let Carlos be like that with me. Like, I could never be with a man like that, because I need to, like, even though I am independent, and yes, I do need help from like my significant other, like, I'm very independent even to this day. Like, but I could never let, like,
you're like, I'm not gonna be my mom. I'm not gonna depend on no man.
I mean, like, of course I do need Carlos, babe. I do need you. No, I just kidding. No, but like, because I saw how like all the pain that my mom went through, like I would not let myself like get
I think my mom also having the career that she does, you know, doing what she loves, and she's a kind of like a paralegal, but she really helps individuals with, you know, disabilities.
Okay.
And she loves that. And like, I remember going to the store with her, and she would stop someone and be like, you know, in Spanish, she'd be like, oh, you know, hola, hi, you know, I work here. This is what I do. If you ever need my, like, not openly saying like, oh, I've noticed that your son, you know, has disability, or whoever you're with has a disability, but, you know, if you ever need my information. And I'm like, girl, you must really love your job, because they don't pay you for that.
Yeah, no, but
to be
I could see your mom doing that.
She does that a lot. Before. Yeah. Yeah. So, and really I think like that example too, like, of seeing her, you know, be the breadwinner and not minding that, or, you know, always just having a passion for her job. I feel like that was like something I learned too, you know, and that's what I instill like in myself. Like, I know we had like a youth study on Wednesday, and we asked them like, you know, what's one word that you would say described you? And then, I forgot how would you describe me? One of my nieces, she said I talk a lot. And I was like, girl, that's not a good thing. Like,
girl, this has got me a lot of places. Made me a lot of friends. That's honestly not a bad thing, because like, I see how,
but I feel like that's the reason why I'm so ambitious, and I'm always a go-getter, and I said I would describe myself as ambitious.
Yeah, you are.
But ambitious. I was like, nobody else would describe me as that. Y'all fake. No, I'm just kidding.
If nobody's gonna say it, I will.
But I'm like, and Giovanni told me, he's like, that's one of the things I was attracted to you too, is because of that.
Yeah,
you know?
You are very ambitious. Like, you don't like to settle, and I honestly think that's really good. I don't think anybody would say that that's. Maybe some people have like a negative connotation
like,
of that.
You're probably never satisfied. I'm like, no, why not? Why always just be satisfied?
Why not strive for better when you can?
Yeah. So I feel like also that example to me was something that helped me like in my career. And just, I don't know, I think that's what gave me the drive to always be like, no, I'm going to be the first person in my family to graduate. Yeah. Like, I have to graduate from college. And like, now, like, where I am, I'm like, Giovanni, like, did you imagine like we were going to be here, you know? And he's like, no.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, amiga. Like, we grew up like I don't know, we were poor. Like, I'm not, like, we never went hungry, but like, I didn't think I was poor then because we grew up in a small town and everybody's kind of like,
like if you did layaway, that was me.
My parents did layaway at Kmart. But now as like I'm older and I hear people that are like, oh yeah, when we were younger, we went to Hawaii for vacation. Girl, we didn't even go to Mexico on vacation. Like, we didn't have money for that. So like, honestly, like that's always like been my drive. Like, I've knew that I don't have like, you know, what is like those little funds that people, the trust fund. Like my parents don't have trust fund. Yeah, my parents don't have no trust fund. Like my parents are expecting me to take care of them when I get older, or when they get older. So that's always like been like, I need to be able to not only provide for like myself, but also if like one of my siblings need help or my parents need help. And honestly, that's been my drive. Like even now, like I'm not satisfied with like my current salary. Like I always want to, you know, better my career. And of course, like, you know, be in a better place financially, like for everybody, not just for myself, you know? But yeah, like my parents, like I think that's why I'm like so independent, like because when I got out of high school and I was like, I'm moving out. And I went, girl, I wasn't even 18 when I moved out.
Really?
No, I was 17. Like I graduated when I was like 17. And so I couldn't even have like a car. I remember Claudia had a car. Hi, Claudia. But yeah, no, like, I'm like, I know that my parents, like, it's not a bad thing either. Like, like we didn't grow up with money, you know, but that's honestly, like, that's always been like why I'm like, okay, I can't, like, I always need to be financially stable because I can't like go, like, what am I going to do if I don't got myself, who's got me, you know?
I know. And I feel like with my family, you know, like we may not have had the most money or anything. Like we never went hungry either, right, you know, but I know we weren't rich. Yeah. You know, we weren't flying to Hawaii, but I will say like we never like felt unloved. Like there was just always an abundance of love there. And I feel like, and faith, you know, and hope and stuff. And I feel like that was the main difference for me. And I feel like that's what made the biggest impact is like, regardless of how much money you have, if you don't have love in your house, like that can mess you up. But I feel like every family has their own dynamics. So amiga, like, how was it like when you were getting to know like your, Carlos's family and stuff?
Girl. I'm all talking into the mic.
Let me get close real quick.
It's been a struggle, honestly, because like I said earlier, like my family and I are really close. So to go from like a family who is like super close to somebody who like being introduced to a family who's not, it's hard because I've almost felt like I need to prove myself to them. Yeah. And it's so weird because like it's been hard, amiga, because I think
every person has that pressure to impress their in-laws.
Girl, I don't feel like honestly, like I don't know if I
or gain their approval
pressure because like I even told my mom like in the beginning like I sensed like some type of tension between like some of his family members and myself, and ultimately like in really early in our relationship is why I stopped coming around, because I remember even telling my mom, I'm like, look, like, I don't need to feel loved by another family. Like, I have all the love I have in mine. So I honestly didn't try, and they didn't try either, until, like, we kind of, now that we live together, it's like, well, now we see them more often. And that was another reason why I was like, I'm never going to see these people all the time. Like, I live in another town, you know, like, and I remember even telling Carlos, like, as long as you love me, like, I don't care if your family doesn't love me, like, or like me, like, you know, but now it's different because we live together and I see them. And, I think honestly, like, it's been a journey because now you have people coming over to your house, right? And it's not like you can run. Yeah. It's like they're in your home.
No, it's your home too.
Yeah. And it's your home too. Like, I'm not going to leave my home. Like, it's different, and I think I've learned to, like, be okay with, you know, different family dynamics. I've just tried to, like, slowly, how do I say it, like, accept it and try to be the bigger person, of course, because you're girl petty. But I'm like getting older already, and like I tell like one of my friends is like, dude, you just need to be a bigger person. Like, and I honestly think like there is tension between some of his family members and myself. But my friend tells me like, it's one miscommunication and just be the bigger person because it's not worth it, right? Like, I don't ever want to feel like Carlos needs to pick between like one of his family members and myself. He better pick me though. I'm just kidding. But I don't ever want to put him in that, like, if they want to put him in that spot, it's different, right? But I don't ever want it to be like come from me. And like, yeah, amiga, like it's hard. Like I don't even know if I have advice for people who are dealing with that because I'm still going through it.
Can y'all give me advice?
Come on, give me advice, amigos and amigas. No, like I've learned now that it's like just people the way like how we said how they grow up. It's like it really influences who they are because if I come into somebody's home, like I'm going to say hi and I'm going to introduce myself as opposed to them. It's like they don't care. And in the beginning, that was like hard for me like to understand. And I was like, why? Like, for me, like, my parents raised me different. And to me, that's, like, you're being rude. But, like, my mom, hey, mom, like, she, like, tells me, like, you know, not everybody grew up with the same stuff as you. So that's, like, you know, it's like we said, like, it influences who you are as a person. So for me, it's been a lot of, like, trying to understand where they're coming from. Instead of like kind of getting into my feelings and being like, well, you know, this is my house. Like you come, you know, like I try not to be like that. It's hard. It's hard, amiga. But how do you deal with things like that?
Giovanni and I have been together for a very long time. So I feel like I have like years worth of, you know, just, interacting with his family and yeah, it's a totally different dynamic from my family. I mean, even Giovanni tells me now, he's like, I don't know how you guys cannot stand like being away from each other for two weeks. Like you guys need to like especially right now with COVID, he's like, you guys need to not see, you know, your mom because she's, you know, prone and she has underlying conditions. He's like, you guys need to go more than 2 weeks without seeing each other. And like, he doesn't get it, you know? Like, I'm used to seeing my family all the time. I talk to them every single day. Yeah. And it's hard for me. Like, we like to get together and we like to play games and we like to watch movies. We like to eat and laugh and joke around. Like, that's us. Like, rarely when we're around each other, like, do we get in an argument of any type, you know? And that's what I'm used to. I'm used to everyone laughing, having a good time. And, so with Giovanni's family, like I had to get used to a different dynamic because they're also like loud and fun and everything, but they also like have disagreements like at parties. And I'm like, dude,
it's so different.
Like like for me, like, and it's just me as a person that I definitely don't like, ¿cómo se dice? Like, disputes or confrontation. Yeah. Like, I avoid confrontation at all costs, no matter where I'm at. If it's work or home or freaking, like, my in-laws' house, like, I honestly avoid confrontation. I don't do well with it. I don't like it. And I don't know why. Like, I start getting tense and everything, and I could see it happening, or I could see where it's gonna go. And I'm like, okay, like.
You try to avoid it.
Yes, I do. Like, I either, like, go somewhere else. And so I had to get used to that. Because that's just their dynamic. They like to argue with each other, but it's like friendly arguing. But to me, like, it's like, dude, you guys are arguing. Like, I'm not trying to get in the middle of it.
I don't know how to differentiate the both.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I could see like somebody getting upset, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over here because I'm not gonna say nothing. Like, you know, it's just I had to get used to that. But I will say, like, his family has always welcomed me. Yes, we've had disagreements with them. I mean, we've been together for a ton of years, and have I always approved of everything? No. Have they approved of me all the time? No. But I will say, like, they've always been there for us. Anytime we needed them, like, they've always been there. And I do consider them, like, my second family. Yeah. But it's definitely, like, and it's hard to say. It's like, you know, there's my family and then there's his family. And for me, like, I appreciate them and all that. And, but I'm still even learning now, you know, like how to, just always keep the peace kind of, and, always show like support. And all that. And, I don't know. I know like my family is just different, you know, and I feel like, I don't know. I guess it's bad to say, but it's like, well, you know, my family is my family. Like, there's nobody like my family.
I mean, I think that's everybody.
I think, everybody thinks that, right? And so I just think that, like, I definitely need to have more communication, especially like with my in-laws, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's rare where I'll even call like out the blue or whatever.
Call them right now.
I know I need to call them and stay more in touch. I will say that like there I do lag. I do lag on like having the kids call them or doing stuff like that. Like I feel like I need to do more of that. But and I'll work on it. So mother-in-law, if you're listening, I'm gonna work on that.
I'm like, Abby's gonna call you tonight. Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard to like not get caught up in your own like personal life, you know, because I know like one of Carlos's sisters, like she does try, and I need to be better about trying myself.
Yes. I mean,
like she's really sweet. Like she'll like I was telling you earlier, like she'll just pop by and kind of check. Like she was for her, like I'm like she's more like me. Like if one of my siblings are like sick, like we like to check in with each other. Like I had a cold and my sister dropped off like a bunch of medicine.
That's
like
sweet.
You know, and she's very much like that. But yeah, me too, Amiga. Like I need to be better about like connecting with them, even with my own family. Even though we are close, I'm like, even though they didn't invite me to the barbecue yesterday, if y'all, I'll still check in with you guys. I had to mention it because I'm petty and I'm salty.
Oh my God, for Leti, I can't believe they didn't invite you.
Girl, they didn't invite me. I feel I'm hurt. If y'all listening, I'm hurt, y'all. I was like, I was going to call the cops on them to be petty. I'm like, I got a noise complaint. 123 Fake Street.
I will say though, like, I take it personal if I'm not invited.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'll see like pictures on Instagram or whatever, and I'll be like,
I'm not going to like it.
Yeah, I won't like it.
We're so funny.
Or I'll show it to Giovanni sometimes. I'll be like, look, were you invited to this party? Did they tell you about this? And he's like, no. And I'm like, and then I get mad and I'm like, I wouldn't even have gone. Like, but I'm still there getting mad.
It's the thought that counts. Yeah, because they live further, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least that. I'm like, my cousins live like 15 minutes from me, and I still didn't get invited.
I remember one time we went to go visit my in-laws, and we were in town, and they were like, are you guys going to go to the party? And I'm like, what party? She goes, yeah, it was one of Giovanni's nephew's parties. And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, so-and-so didn't text you? And I'm like, no, I didn't get any text. I swear to God. Is there a party? She goes, yes, they're having it at this pizza place. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go. Like, I wasn't invited. Like, I think it's personal. I don't know why.
You know what? Like, if you see the other side of them, like, they're like, well, you don't need an invite, right? Like, we're family. You just show up. Like, it should be trickled down. Like, I tell you, you tell, like, hey, this person's having a party. Like, just show up. And I understand that. But I'm like, yesterday I was like, I didn't get a phone call. Like, Carlos was like, just go, babe. I'm like, no. I'm like, I ain't showing. I'm going to show up with the cops. I'm just with my noise complaint. I'm going to be a Karen.
I mean, it was like a perfectly, like, reasonable, it was a reasonable excuse. She's like, look, like, I didn't, want you guys to feel forced to drive all the way down here for, his little party. I'm like, no. Give me the choice. Yeah. And we will go if we can.
That's true.
And I'll let you know if we can. But it's like, I don't want, like, our nephews and nieces to ever feel like, oh, we didn't want to go. You know what I mean? If we didn't even know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like how you said that. Like, give me the choice to, like, make, like, do I want to go or do I not just decide to, like, not show up? But don't just not invite me.
Yeah. So, family members.
Y'all listening. That's when like the group text messages like come in handy because I don't know, like we don't host a lot of parties. But if I did, like I would not try to forget somebody, but like it's hard, like especially with a big family.
Yeah.
Like just group text it.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of group texting. I hate the constant notifications. I'm sorry. I don't like them.
You could like put them to sleep because that's what we argue too because some people in my family wake up earlier than others and then there's like the other ones that are like still hungover like at 11 in the morning and it's like don't be texting at 6 in the morning to this group chat.
Or Giovanni, one of your aunts.
Why? I swear, I'm like call her out.
His phone be going off all the time, amiga. All the freaking time. And I'm always like, I'm like, dude, Giovanni, who is texting you? Like it's late. Or it's early, and I'm like, who is texting you, dude? Like, your phone's go by, and he's like, oh, it's my tia, it's my aunt. what is she saying? I don't know. She's just like, honestly, she just texts a text. And I'm like, why do you
see that? She's not waiting for somebody to respond to her.
I know. I'm like, dude, I could never. Like, that would drive me nuts.
I can imagine Gable growing up and being that person.
He's being that tia.
Oh my god.
Gabriel's going to be that tia.
Yeah. I used to, one of my cousins, I remember growing up, she would call the house phone because we didn't have cell phones then, you know, like these kids don't know about the house phone. She would call the house phone all the time, and she's younger than me. I'm sorry, girl. She's a listener now, and I remember like my mom, I would tell my mom, like, tell her like I was doing something or something, and now I'm like, when she don't respond,
you were like,
I was like that. Now when she don't respond, I'm like, how dare she not text me back?
She's not texting you back. I'm not here.
She's like, sorry, you can't come to the phone right now. I'm like, it's okay. If you want to get me back like that, it's fine. I don't think I've ever told her like, hey, I used to tell my mom.
Now she knows.
I'm always several of my cousins listen, so she won't know it's her.
She knows.
How much she knows, but yeah, there's pros and cons to the group text. Like, you know, just don't over excessively do it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just not a fan. And you know what it is that like for me, anytime I see a notification, I have to go check. And I have to remove that little 1 or 2, whatever that's on my icon of letting
you are really like,
I'm anal.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I have to go like, oh, I got to open the message because it needs to be read. And then like, that's why it drives me nuts.
Girl, you don't want to see my Yahoo email. There's like 1,000 plus unread messages.
I don't understand those people that have like thousands of emails.
Spam. It's spam. It's fine. And when I need to find something, I like filter through it. I'm like, oh, where's that email I'm waiting for? Or like, where's my shipment? Where is it at? But I don't read like my emails like that.
Girl, no, I can't. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
You ever find yourself like looking at the watch? Like, I'm not gonna look at the phone. And then look at your watch just to see the message.
Dude, yeah. Well, now it just opens. Like, it's a one. I don't know if yours is like this, but I bring it up and it opens the message like right away. And I'm like, oh, I'm forced to like look at it now. You know, even if I didn't want to, like it's on my watch. Like,
I tell myself, I'm not gonna look at it, and then I look at it on my phone. I mean, on my watch, and then I'll tell myself, yeah, it's not that important to look at my phone.
Wow.
So you see,
that's how he'd be reading all his tia's messages.
I know. Is your tia a listener?
Not yet. I'll find out if she is.
Tell her to skip this episode. Pobrecita la tía, dude.
She always had one tia.
We text each other. But sometimes.
Yeah, I guess it does get annoying. It really does.
Yeah. I had this one tia who passed away, you know. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah.
But like she would call everybody, and then even my mom sometimes would like, "Mom, sorry," but sometimes she would like not answer because my tia like she loved to keep you on the phone forever, and she always just talked about like her doctor's appointments and then like what was going wrong with her. Like it was just always so negative.
That's draining. That is draining. I have one of my aunts. She calls my mom. They're sisters, you know, and she'll be like, "Ay, tu tia." Like, because it's draining. Like, I know, like, what it's like. Because my dad, like, he loves to talk on the phone, too. And I try to tell myself, like, sometimes you don't have time or, like, you're busy. Yeah. But now, like, he's getting older, and I'm like, no, like, I need to, like, sit here and stop what I'm doing and have a conversation with him.
That's my biggest regret is ignoring some of her calls.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say most of her calls.
Yeah.
Like, I regret that. I remember, like, being at her funeral and being like, why did I not talk to her? Like, she just wanted to talk to somebody.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard because, like, it's hard to be accepting to somebody who's, like, really negative because it kind of, like, affects you, or at least with me, like, or even with my mom, like, she'll be like, you know, like, it's draining. It's really draining. But, you know, sometimes, like you said, like, those people just want someone to vent to. Like, I know, like, I was telling, I had, like, a hard week at work. And you know this because I'm like, amiga, girl. And I called one of our friends, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just being so negative, but I just need to, like, let it out. And then he started being negative, and he's like, ew, like, you're, like, rubbing off on me. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, and I, like, changed my mood, like, really quickly because I was like, I don't want to be that person to, like, drain you because I'm having, like, a rough day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to drag you down with me.
I'm like, I'm having a bad day, so are you. I'm just kidding. No, but Yeah, like I think it's also like important, like just answer those phone calls.
I think even like talking about having bad days at work, right?
Yeah.
Like, I tell the listeners, like, how do you stay motivated
at work?
Yeah.
Girl, it's hard sometimes. Like, I think for a while, even at my current job, like, I was like losing motivation. Like, I was like honestly just there because I was like, you know what? Like, I have a job. Like, I was like kind of suppressing my feelings. This was pre-pandemic because, you know, like I was able to, like on the weekends, like Carlos and I would always be doing something. So I would kind of just stick it out during the week and I'd be like, you know what, like it is what it is. Like I'm looking forward to my weekend. But it was like that for a while. And I remember when I finally started talking about it, I was like, oh my God, like this is not what I want to do because with me, like at any, like in my career, like I always want to be doing, like I never want to do the same thing because that gets boring. Like that makes me bored. I like things to change up very quickly or at least like try to learn something new. And of course, like the leadership is also like as important. Actually, it's like almost like
it's the most important.
Yeah,
because I will say like they say that people don't leave jobs, they leave managers.
Yeah. And that's true. I've left the job because of like, you know, prior management.
Yeah.
And I was at that point where I was like I would just show up to work and I was like, you know what? I don't want to be here. Like I knew that once the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, I'm no longer happy at this job or this job is not giving me what I need to feel fulfilled in my career. And then for me, what helped was like talking about it because like once I started talking about it, like I was like, okay, I need to stop suppressing these feelings that I'm having and listen to myself. And then honestly, like once you left, I don't know why, like I was like, I just kind of had this, like felt this need to just be like, okay, I need to like step it up because like, it's like me or nobody else. I'm just kidding. You know, but is
it what the responsibility? Like responsibility?
Yeah, it's added. I like that. Like I like being responsible for things. And at one point, like I didn't feel that, you know, and once that happened, like it kind of started motivating me more. But if you wouldn't have left, honestly, like I would have went to look for another job. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to do that or if I am, oops, I'm just kidding. But like once, like at one point I was like, okay, like this job isn't like fulfilling me and what I need for like my career goals. Like I need to move on. And I think it's normal to lose motivation at a job. Like, especially if it's not something that you enjoy doing, like it's really easy to, you know, just kind of like be content with where you are. But like, if that's the case, like look for something. And one is like, don't be scared because I know like a lot of people are still stuck in the same job because they're scared. They're scared. They're comfortable. Yeah. And honestly, like, I think because I've been at a job that's like way worse, I'm like, it can't get any worse than that. Like, you know, like I can only go up from that place where, not my current job, like my previous job, like I can only go up from this place, right? So don't be scared. Like if you feel like wherever you are, like currently is not fulfilling you, like, personally or your career goals, like look for something that you enjoy doing, like because it's not worth being like stuck at a job that's like more than like you're there like for a long time, like you should be enjoying like what you do, because that like affects your personal life, like that work-life balance, like it definitely trickles down to that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't enjoy what you do and you spend most of your week doing that, like it's going to be hard.
Yeah. But what do you do, amiga, to stay motivated?
I know, like, how you mentioned, like, pre-pandemic, I was definitely not happy. I was bored. And, like, being open with, you know, my manager at the time and, you know, being real about my expectations and where I saw my future. And I felt like I was getting nowhere. And then, so the pandemic hit. And I remember we took like a 15% pay cut.
We did.
And so that was even more discouraging.
Right.
But then I had to think like, Abby, just like sit here. You have a job. Be thankful for that because there was a lot of people losing their jobs. And so I had to like remember what to be grateful for, what to appreciate, because a lot of other people did not have it as good as we did, right? We were able to work remote, and which I'd been remote, right?
Yeah. But that was a luxury before, right?
Yeah, but now it's a mandatory, right? And so then, like, a couple months later, when they were like, okay, we're gonna, put you guys back at your regular pay rate, I thought, like, okay, we survived. Like, we made it through that, little hiccup. We had to, like, readjust our finances and everything, but we made it through. And so then I felt like more motivated. I was like, okay, I still have a job. They appreciate me at my job. Like, they always told me, like, that I did a good job, or that they, that I was, good, or that they loved my work. Like, that was something that I loved that, my prior job did, is they always told me, like, how good of a job I did.
Yeah, you did it really good.
And then, but, so then after that, when they were like, okay, now we're going to reimburse you guys for that period that you received 50% less pay, then I felt like even more blessed. I felt more motivated, because I'm like, what company is going to give you back that percentage that you lost? You know what I mean? And so that was like, at that point, I had totally changed my mindset. Remember? Like, I remember talking to you about it, and I'm like, amiga, like, I remember being so miserable before, but now, like, I feel blessed. I feel appreciative. I feel more motivated. And then, so that's where I was. And then again, like, having that conversation with my manager and being like, hey, I want to be a manager. Like, I'm at that level. And again, like, not seeing that go anywhere, because it didn't seem like, and now I know, like, it never got to the right people, So I didn't feel like the support there. And I will say, like, that was probably one of the biggest reasons I left, was because, I don't know, it wasn't the kind of manager that, one, I was accustomed to, and then two, I felt was going to get me where I wanted to go. Right. You know what I mean? And so, but getting this opportunity that I have now, and the way it came about, was just like purely like God, you know, and the timing and the way it happened and how easy it was. And just, it came out of nowhere, and going from not thinking that I was worthy of that position or qualified to them reaching out to me. And then now I'm here. It's like, I feel like changing my mindset was what, like, I don't know, made that all fall into plan. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just being open to new opportunities, even though I was still happy where I was. Like, I would still be happy there. Yeah. But don't be scared. If there's an opportunity that comes to you and you're like, oh, but interviews make me so nervous. Like, do I really, are they really going to like me? Can I even do the job? Like, it seems so hard. It's such a large company, or whatever it may be. Go for it.
Yeah. You have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Yeah. Just go for it. Because if you don't take a chance, you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah. And so I think, like, one, change your mindset at your job. Find different ways to challenge yourself. Yeah. Or talk to them and be like, hey, I can take on more responsibility. Like, I'm bored. Just give me something else to do. Give me a project I want to learn. Yeah. Or two, be open to those opportunities and take them. Go for it. Do your due diligence.
And don't be scared. Don't be scared to take on, like, new opportunities or new responsibilities at your job. Like, more than likely, like, the person reaching out to you already knows you have the capability of doing it. It's more of, like, you need to convince yourself that you can.
They're just looking at you to see if personality-wise, you're fit for the team. So it's not necessarily what's your skill set, more so what do you like? Right. Yeah. And so as long as you remember those two things, like, when you're going through the interview process, you're just going to nail it. Like I told Giovanni, every video I said are the two things that employers or potential employers are looking for is enthusiasm and drive. Yeah. So as long as you show those two things, no matter what kind of questions they throw at you, you're going to rock.
Yeah, because, like, I like that you mentioned drive, because at my first, like, job out of college, girl, I did not even know, like, I wasn't really comfortable with Excel. But thankfully, my manager there, like, he knew that I was ambitious and I wanted to learn. And he took the time to show me. And I'm very grateful for that. Like, he's not a listener, but hey. But I was so thankful for that because, like, you know, I didn't know anything, but I was so willing to learn that, I mean, people see that. People see you ask questions because, like, if, like, your managers or your superiors see that, like, they're going to take the time to want to, like, teach you or, you know, kind of show you the ropes. And I try to do that now. Like, as a manager, if I see somebody who is willing to learn and who is eager to kind of, you know, advance their career, I will take that time to, you know, show them whatever small skill sets or the skills that I know, because at one point, you know, somebody taught me.
Yeah, at one point that was me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, even if you're not comfortable, like, even now, like, I tell, like, one of our friends, I'm like, dude, I will show you what I know in Excel. Like, this is a great tool. Like, and I'm just waiting for him to be like, hey, show me. And I don't even care. Like, if I had to, like, work extra hours, like, I would show that
to
person.
help that person grow.
Right. Yeah.
It's so funny because, like, this week, I had a Zoom call with one of my old managers. She was the manager who was the first person to take a chance on me in my payroll job, right? Okay. So if it wasn't for her, honestly, I don't think I would be doing payroll.
Really?
Yeah. So like, talking with her, it was just so surreal. Talking with her and being like, wow, you know, girl, I'm not gonna say your name.
Yeah.
I almost said it. But I was like, wow, you know, like, I can't believe, you know, she was like, you know, you're doing so amazing. And I'm like, you know, it was like, you took that chance on me. Like, you didn't want to hire me, but the team wanted to hire me. And that's why I am where I am.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that? And like, they really took me under their wing and just taught me from the ground up. Kind of like how I took you on and taught you from the ground up.
I was like, are you telling my story? I just haven't made it yet.
So when you were like, that was you at some, I'm like, yeah, you were me at some point. I was an AP and at some point I moved over to payroll because that one person was like, you know, she has potential.
Right.
She's willing to learn. And yeah, like going from the newbie to being one of the top performers there, it was like, that shows you ambition. That shows you drive.
Yeah. And I think it's important because I've met people who, I remember this girl, we're not friends because of this reason. I'm just kidding. Not because of this, but I remember I was telling her I was training somebody at my current job. And then she told me, don't teach them everything you know because then they can replace you. And I didn't like that. Like I've never been the one to be selfish with like what I know. Like, because like, where is that? That's not going to get you anywhere. Like,
no, you're just always going to have to do that.
Right. Yeah. And I didn't like that approach. And and if you are that way, don't be afraid of that. Like, I remember like at my previous job, like the older ladies were very scared because I was so ambitious and they were scared of losing their job. And don't be that person. Like, be confident in your skill set. And
honestly, it can only help you.
Right. Yeah. Like, you can always learn from these people. Like, even like at our current job, there's like a younger guy. Homie is good at Excel. And I'm like, I don't care how old you are. Like,
teach me.
Yeah. I'm like, show me how you did that for me, sir. But don't be afraid. Like, don't feel threatened by that. No. And if somebody knows more than you, then hey, ask them like, hey, can you teach me? Or you take it upon yourself to like learn more of like what it is that you want to learn. Like, don't try to sabotage somebody else's like, you know, career because of that.
No, I've never like believed in that where, you know, I'm going to hold this knowledge so that way I'm irreplaceable. Honestly, nobody's irreplaceable. Yeah. So like if you haven't taught them yet, they're going to learn it themselves. So don't have that mindset. And when I say like it can only help you, it can only help you because then you have help doing that task as opposed to being the only one responsible for it.
Yeah, because that's like very tiring if you're the only person.
It is. I remember going on vacation and then having to do that freaking report because I hadn't trained anybody on it. And it's like, oh my God, why haven't I trained anybody? But I'm telling you guys, it only hurts you.
Yeah, it really does. It really does, amiga. But do you have any other advice for, you know, the amigas or amigos work life?
Well, I think like work-life balance is like for me, since I started working more hours.
How are you dealing with that? And how are you, because I know you just started, but how has it been?
So we had to bring back our, you know, babysitter because both Giovanni and I are going to be training. So like, I'm so thankful that she agreed to come back because it was further for her. And that's kind of why like she couldn't watch them anymore.
Yeah.
But I had reached out to her and she's like, oh my God, I was thinking of you guys the day before. And I was like, oh, it's nice. But yeah, like she came on Friday because Giovanni was traveling. He had to take back his equipment. And she was there, like, helping me. And, oh, my God, I remember, like, Johnny, in the beginning, when she would come to the house, he did not like her.
How did he do with her
He just did not like her. So before she would get to the house, he would see her, and he would run down the hallway to my room where my desk was, and he would close the door. And he'd, like, pretend like nobody was there. And I'm like, Johnny, you can't do that?
Girl, that's your babysitter.
So on Friday, like, oh my gosh, poor thing though. They had her going up and down the stairs, but at least they were talking to her and they were sitting with her and like she made them quesadillas and all that. And she was like, they don't want the quesadilla, they want peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm like, girl, that's fine. But we only had like the keto bread, and I'm like, oh, that's an expensive sandwich.
I mean, and they're a lot older now too, so like maybe I don't know, maybe he was.
So we definitely had to get some help. It's just part time. Yeah, it's like 8:30 to 1, but I mean, like those hours are gonna be priceless for us. And then two, like, I don't know why, but I've been like working late, and then Giovanni will just come over and sit right there by my desk and just like, oh, how's it going? Like, how's work? And he'll just sit there just to be in the same room with me because I'm like working, like I have to work.
You work a lot of hours
and
now.
So he'll just go and sit there and he just to hang out with me or ask me like what I'm doing or watch what I'm doing. And I'm like, dude, like you are. It's funny, like I look forward to that when he comes down and just hangs out with me. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do that with his new job, but.
Yeah, it'll probably be a while because he'll be training.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be on site too.
Oh,
so I don't know.
I'm about to come over and have you take care of the kids.
I know. I was like, Leti, you want to come move in for the week?
I'm like, I have all the goldfish snacks and the cheeses and everything.
She did. We came over here at Leti's house, right? And we come in and homegirl busted out with all the snacks.
I went to the store and got snacks for the kids. But yeah, amiga, like I think it's hard for like
I try to start taking breaks too.
Yeah.
Like try to like maybe throw in a quick YouTube workout because I need to get moving. I cannot be sitting down.
Like even right now that we're sitting down, I'm like, girl, we need to.
I know we like a lot.
Yeah, but I see it's hard, like especially now because people are, home.
Just home.
Yeah, like I see like some of even like the people I work with, and they're having to deal with like their kids are at home, and it's like I think. I don't know how they do it because I'm not a parent myself. I'm like, I have Loki running around and I'm going crazy because he's like biting everything while I'm in a meeting. I remember when he was like,
I feel like kids are more behaved than Loki.
I know, and my dog's bad. But like, I don't know how they do it. Like, and of course, like, I think it's like how you said, like, that you need the help now because it's, Johnny has a new job, you start in a new job. But yeah, like, don't be afraid to like get the help because I even see like some people like at my current job and I'm like, girl, it's starting to affect your performance because you have your kids at home,
Yeah, you cannot let it affect your performance. I will say, like, for the longest time, Giovanni and I were just the ones watching the kids. And, like, there's other parents that worked, where we work. But, like, nobody could ever tell me, like, oh, because your kids are there, like, your performance is faulting.
Right.
Or anything. And I'm like, they could never say that to me.
Yeah, don't be that person.
That's why, like,
get the help, you guys.
That's why, like, working remote, like, I've always tried to prove myself even more because for me, I know remote work is a privilege. It's not a right.
Yeah.
So.
I'm on the right now. I'm just kidding. I have the right to be working in my pajamas. Now, like post-pandemic. Well, I guess during the pandemic, we're still in the pandemic. But yeah, amiga, like I'm glad that you're saying you're taking more breaks because now that I've had like more responsibilities, like I find myself like I'm like I need to finish this, like. But I'm like, no, like, I need to step away from the computer a little bit, kind of take a little, like, I'll go outside and play with Loki. Because, like, Destiny, my niece, like, she stays here while my sister works and she does her homework. And I was noticing, like, I was, like, very, like, short-tempered with her.
You're snappy.
Yeah, and I was like, and it's because of, like, I wouldn't take any breaks. And I'm like, I'll take a break, and then she'll be like, can you take a longer break today? I know you're the boss. I'm like, that's right.
You're the boss.
Or like, and then, but she'll understand too. Like, I'll be like, no, Destiny, like, I just need to get you food and I need to go back, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really important to take breaks because even for a while, like I went to the eye doctor, I was telling, my optometrist, I was like, my eyes burnt. And she was like, you need to step away from the computer. Like, even if it's like 10, 15 seconds that you look away, and then come back, you know? And I'm like, that's right. Like, I ain't trying to like deter myself because of this stupid job.
Oh my God. On Friday, so Giovanni was gone. He went to LA. And, so I don't know what happened. And, I mean, we live in a like brand new house, but for some reason, like, the electricity on like their level of where his room and Johnny's room is, like the lights wouldn't turn on.
Okay.
So his computer wasn't charging. So he had to come downstairs and work at the table, like right there in my office.
Yeah.
And I don't know if homie thought it was social hour or what. Like he's
so
like,
social though.
He's like, Mom, look, I wrote this for my test. And then like Giovanni called me, like he FaceTimed me, and I'm like, hey. And all of a sudden I hear Gabriel, shh, can you keep it down? I'm doing a test. And I'm like, excuse me?
Girl.
I was like, dang.
You're on. This is why you're upstairs. Just kidding.
I was going to be like, go to the room. I was so annoyed.
You're ready to snap at him.
But yeah, and then like, I'd be on the meeting with my boss and he'd be like, Mom, I did this and this and teacher said that. And then I have to mute Gabriel. I am in a call, like in a video call. You need to not talk to me. He's like, okay. And I mute and I'm still talking with my boss. And then all of a sudden, Mom, I'm just like, oh my God, I cannot. Like, I cannot.
I think, from like a perspective, like I don't have kids who are interrupting besides like Destiny now will be like, I'm in a meeting. Like I'll yell at her and she'll also tell me too, I'm in a meeting. I'm like, oh, okay.
She's flirt.
I know she's flirt. She's important. I don't mind when like kids are in the background or like.
No, I love it
as long as it's not excessive and it, like how we said earlier, like as long as it's not like affecting your performance, I don't mind it. But I honestly don't like. I like when like people bring their kids on.
I was so glad other people on my team had kids.
Yeah.
Like when we had like our first daily call, I could hear somebody's like daughter crying, and I was like, thank God, like thank God, because
you're all, they're gonna understand.
And then like my second day, like I was in the daily call, right? I told you we have like a daily call, and Carolina, she like comes to like talk to me.
Cameos.
So she made a cameo, and right away, like I rushed to turn off the camera because I'm like, oh shoot, like
no, amiga.
And then like my boss was like, oh, Abby, is that your daughter? And I was like, so I have to like, of course, turn on the video, and I'm like, yeah, this is my daughter. She's like one half of a twin, and like I have to explain it. I'm like, I don't know if they like realize how many kids I have.
You don't have that many.
I feel like people judge me when they're like, oh my God, you have 3 kids and then twins, and I'm like, look, it's not how it sounds. It's not how it sounds.
You're super mom. I guess now because people only have like one, like when I hear 4 kids something, I'm like 4, but like my siblings and I are 4 is a lot. I'm like, I guess 4 is not that much, but it just seems like so much now. I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know.
Why do I feel like that? I feel like people are kind of thinking like, dang, like she has a lot of kids.
I don't know.
Like, how is she going to get her work done? I don't know why I think that like people are going to judge me and think
it's
like,
because we're overthinkers.
I know. That's like,
it's the overthinkers.
I have this scenario in my head.
But
I'm like,
you're not like, you're just not that type of person who would let something like that like affect your performance.
I take way too much pride in my work that I could like, if it meant having to work later because my kids interrupted me, like I will put in the work. And I think having Giovanni's support too has been really helpful. Yeah. Like he hasn't been like, oh, you're going to work late again. No, he'll be like, oh, but you need to work late. Okay, I'll take care of the kids. I'll make you
dinner. Is that overtime?
She's like, you already bought your gift. Thank you very much. Dang.
What was the gift?
Girl, oh my gosh. So I guess like he kept hinting, like when he was going through his interview process, he's like, babe, I'm going to need a new computer.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'm going to need a new computer because I have to turn in my computer. And, you know, I've been looking at this and, you know, it's really good. And I already have this desktop. So I don't even need the laptop. I just need to get, you know, the computer. And I was just like, okay, whatever, like, you know, we'll talk about it later. Mm-hmm. And then he got the job, right? And I was like, oh, and they're going to pay you this. And I was like, oh, thank God. I guess you can get your computer. He's like, oh, I'm glad you said that because I already ordered it.
Oh, Giovanni, he's like, he was all trying to justify it before. He's like, no, honey, I got a new job.
I thought we talked about, like, telling your spouse. I thought we talked about, like, before making big ticket purchases, talking to me, but apparently that went right over his head.
Oh, big ticket. That was only like $1,500.
Oh my gosh.
No. So I'm like stressing, and he's like, oh, like he'll go on OfferUp and he'll be like, babe, look, this person's selling this camera. It's like a good quality. It's a good deal. This and that's like $300. He said he'll give it to me for $300. I was like, excuse me? You just bought an expensive computer. We don't even delete OfferUp. Delete OfferUp because I cannot be doing this anymore.
He's all, okay, I'll get Facebook Marketplace.
I can't with him.
No, Giovanni's a spender. I'm like, I did not know this. I am the producer.
I had to delete the Amazon credit card because homie could not control himself.
I saw this on TikTok. I don't know if I was going to tell you guys. I don't know if it's real, but like you can download a report from Amazon where it tells you like your total spend like annually or like it's like a whole report.
Don't tell me. Like
I'm kind of curious to do it, but like I want you guys to do it too.
Heck no! Just like to be depressed and know where all my money went.
Probably only like $200.
Really, Giovanni?
He's like, we just started the year. He's like, we'll do it annually. It's just been 2 months. No, but I do think of that because like sometimes like I'll be like going through my bank account. I'm like, what did I buy? And it's like little purchases at Target, like $40, and then another. I'm like,
Target will get you, dude. I remember like during like the holiday season and stuff, like. A Target would get me every time.
For me, during the holidays, it was because you could do the drive up. And I'm like, I ain't trying to go to Walmart or any other store. Like, if they can bring it to my car, like, I did most of my Christmas shopping from Target. Sorry, family. But, no, it's just so convenient. It's so convenient. Same thing with Amazon and all, like, those major retailers.
They get you. I told them, I was like, delete it. I'm not going to be like, because we just paid it off, and I'm like, no, delete it. I don't want to look. I don't want that ever getting close to that again.
Dare I say that on Friday I got a Target credit card.
Did you?
Girl. I'll tell you guys how it goes. No, but it's because, like, remember that egg chair I was telling you about?
Yes.
I'm like, I don't want,
my God, that chair is gorgeous.
I'm like, I don't want to give them all of my money at once. I'm like, I'm going to get a credit card. But I haven't bought anything. Yet, but I try not to
get a promotional like API or APR, like interest-free financing.
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't. I just got approved and I was happy.
Girl, I can't even judge because like during Valentine's Day weekend, did I tell you?
No.
I went to Victoria's Secret because like I remember like a while back, like I had this bra and it was like the most comfortable bra I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to go see if I can find it there, right? Mm-hmm. And girl, like once I walked in and the girl like checking you in, like they gave you a bag before you even start shopping. And she was
hella big too.
And she was like so nice and friendly. She was like, "Ooh, what did you come in here for?" And I was just like, "Oh, I'm just looking for like a regular everyday bra and whatever." And she's like, "Girl, just so and so. I'm gonna have her help you. I'm gonna have her measure you because I lost weight, so I don't know like what my actual size is." I was like, "Yeah, can I get measured?" And so like anyway. So then I go and then I'm looking at the bras and of course like the ones that I'm like actually looking at are like the full price ones, right? Because those are the ones
they're like expensive.
Yes, they're like $50-something. I was like, dang.
You're like for one or like for like four?
Y'all don't got a deal?
You're like, I need to see this bra but in the clearance.
So then the girl's like, oh, do you want to, sign up for a credit card? You'll get like $15 off. And I was like, oh, they got me, girl.
$15? That's it?
Yes, they do.
You're on for my life?
Got me, dude. They got me. But then I was like, look, it's something that I'm going to, like, it's an investment. I'm going to wear it like every day.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just, like a one day, like Valentine's Day outfit. No. Like I went in there for actual bras and I got like 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went in there and I got like 3. One of them ended up being like $14. I was like, thank you, because I was about to spend some real coin here.
Yeah.
But and then I stopped and looked at like the clearance section and everything, which it was all slim pickings because everybody was in there. I was like, dude, like some girls with their guys were in there, and I'm like, I don't know why I feel uncomfortable like bra shopping when dude.
I don't know if I would. Carlos would be like, I'm gonna go to the like a sports store.
It's like at the mall, you know, when the guys are all just standing outside Victoria's Secret,
all with a bag, like just waiting. Honestly, like I'd rather do the shopping with like a girlfriend or like by myself.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah,
it was kind of weird. Like I'm like, ooh, do you know like what size I'm looking at? Like I don't know. It was just weird.
I don't know. Like I don't know if I would feel weird. Like if I went, Carlos and I've never went to something like that, but like. I think he'd probably be like, here, pick, I like these. And I'm like, oh, you like, what about you paying or what? No, but credit cards, like a lot of the stores, like we shop like at Old Navy. Like I don't get credit cards at places like that.
Yeah, it's too dangerous.
It's too dangerous.
I
like,
do.
Even though like I'm like.
But I pay them off quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, like if you are like, just be responsible. Like, even like with my bank, like I do have a credit card with them and I don't let them increase the limit. Because I'm like, I can't. Like, I need to just be
like... You need to have self-control and everything. And that's what, like, even now, like, we're just working towards paying off debt, you know? So any, like my vacation payout went to the Amazon card. And that's why I was like, you better delete that. Because I'm not trying to, like, have to pay that off again, you know? And then, like, Giovanni, his, like, PTO payout is going to go, like, to our credit card. Because I'm just, like, I want it done. So, like, all this cute little OT that I'm working is going to go to pay off my debt. Like, I just don't want it anymore. And it, you know, I don't have an excuse to have it, you know? But they did swindle me into a Victoria's Secret card. So I can't judge you, amiga, for getting a Target credit card.
It's because I want patio furniture. But I'm like, it's pricey. Like,
it's really
I'm
expensive.
like, I don't want to give freaking Target all my money at once. I'm going to give it to you.
And it sucks because the best time to get like patio furniture is the end of summer.
And it's already
like already going to be spring, so it's going to be the most expensive now and it won't go down until the end of summer.
Yeah, maybe I should wait for my credit card.
It'd be like Valentine's cards. You know how nobody bought Valentine's cards? They were all cheap.
Were they?
They were not, because I went to Walgreens. They were expensive.
No, just like Target. They were like half off.
Oh, wow. Is that why that's where you got the card for a good deal?
No, because Valentine's cards were not on sale. I was talking about the kids ones.
Oh.
Or like the ones that they would usually distribute like at school, right?
Yeah. Oh, never mind. I thought you meant like the Hallmark card.
No, girl. I'm like the cards you give your little friends at school.
Well, yeah, I mean, they weren't allowed to. Like, I remember specifically getting an email from the school saying you cannot bring anything out.
Oh, yeah, but that's so sad. All this pandemic is like making kids like miss out on stuff. Like, Carlos' sister called me the other day and she's like, hey, when your nephews are there, call me, because I guess her son had like a little breakdown because he's like, I want to play with kids my age, because the brother's a little bit older. And I felt so sad. I was like, oh my God, because in the beginning, Destiny also had a little meltdown. She was like, I just want to go to regular school. And I was like, Destiny, like I tried to explain to her, like, you know, it's only temporary, but like, yeah, like this whole pandemic is like making kids miss out on a lot of stuff. But of course, it's for like everybody's safety. Like, yeah, I get that.
And that's why I'm so grateful. Like Gabriel does hybrid, you know, like, so I'll make that sacrifice. I'll take him at 12:30,
right,
and pick him up at 3. And even though he's only there for like 2.5 hours, at least he gets to be around kids,
right?
Even though obviously they're socially distanced, but like I can tell, like I could see like how he looks forward to it.
Yeah, it's like
and
a
then
little
when he's
sense
leaving,
of normalcy.
they're like, "Bye, Gabriel,"
yeah,
and then you know they're all talking. So I feel like, you know, I found out like in the Bay Area, my coworkers, that their school's just open, but their school's open for like almost the whole day.
Oh.
And I'm like, is Chloe's gonna get on board? Because what's going on?
You're like, I need these kids out of the house. I'm just kidding.
This 2.5 hours just ain't cutting it.
Yeah, no, I feel bad like for like my niece, and I'm hoping that like it doesn't have an effect on like
a lot of people are saying there's gonna be long-term effects,
right? Like I'm like I told my sister, like, Destiny cannot be like, I say like a burra, like dumb, you know. I'm like, she's not allowed to be dumb when she grows up. Like she, you know, she has like a lot of people like in my, or like I was just referring to me and my sister. Like my sister's going to school, and like, you know, I'm like, girl, like she
has too many good examples.
Yeah,
like that.
She cannot. I'm like, we are not gonna let her. So I guess we'll see how, like, you know, hopefully it doesn't have that like negative.
I think
effects.
I have that expectation for Gabriel too.
Yeah,
like, you know, both of your parents are college graduates. There's no reason why you wouldn't go to college.
Yeah,
you know,
there's no reason unless he's gonna do something else like better than.
Unless you're like the next, I don't know, YouTube celebrity. Yeah. You're going to college.
You have your little college fund already for him. So Gabriel, you better go to college. Even to have the experience, like, why not? I don't know. Yeah. I don't regret going, even though like girl, I struggled because, like I said, like my parents didn't have money or anything.
Yeah.
But I would never I don't regret like the whole college experience. Like it was fun. It was fun. I made a lot of friends.
But on top of that, like kids being like online and everything, I think like as parents, we need to be more aware of what they're doing.
Girl,
like I recently read an article about Omegle, and Giovanni didn't know what that was. And I'm like, what?
You guys, like as parents, I'm not a parent, but I try to keep up with like, cause I have my niece and my nephew, like I try to keep up on like the latest stuff because something's always coming out. Like Omegle, like it's like
Roblox, which you can chat with other people. And I'm like, Gabriel, you cannot be chatting with these people.
There's a setting where you can turn that off. One of like my cousin's daughters, like, cause Destiny's younger than her, she's like, oh no, like you can like, there's a setting like you could turn it off to where she can only talk to like her cousins because they have it. But yeah, like you have to be on top of this stuff.
You have to be aware. Yeah. And like I read like it was specifically about Omegle. So Omegle is Omegle in case you guys want to Google it. But
look at you putting on the parents.
I am, because Giovanni didn't know about it. Yeah. And I was like, no, Giovanni, like we see like YouTube celebrities, right? Like they go on Omegle, but it's honestly just a prank. People on there so that they're like, oh my God, I'm talking to James Charles, or oh my God, I'm talking to Rosa, you know? But like if you watch the videos, like there's little kids on this site, and it's pairing them with like, it doesn't look at your age or anything. It doesn't pair you with kids. It pairs you with adults, right? And then like they were saying that, like when they went on there in that 1 hour or however 30 minutes that they were on there, like there was just like pornography and there's like people exposing themselves on there, and I'm like, kids are on here and it's not even censoring all that. Like it's crazy. Like like
even like the YouTube videos that we see, like there's sometimes people doing like inappropriate stuff and like just their reaction, it's funny like how they react, but like you said, there's little kids on there.
Yes.
And you can chat with them too. Like there's like a way to chat with them, and then like you can like leave the chat room too, right? But no, like I think that's dangerous. Like especially like, I don't know, kids can be so vulnerable. Yeah. Especially like if somebody's older than you.
Yeah. That's just how they get groomed.
Right. Yeah. So parents, be careful. And even if you're not a parent, like
especially because kids, almost every kid has a laptop now because they have to do online school or whatever. Yeah. So it's just like always being aware of what they're doing. I know like I try to pay attention to Gabriel. So yeah, it's, I don't know. Like I would be upset if my kid was ever on Omegle.
Yeah. And I think as parents, like it's easy.
Especially even remembering us, how we were like were you ever on AOL?
No, I remember I was not. Like, I'm like, we didn't have a computer. We were like way older. But I even remember like in college, like one of my roommates would go on there, and I don't know if it was Omegle, but it was something similar. Where like once that started coming up, I'm like, oh, I remember my roommate used to do that. But she would go on there and like sing, like she would just try to make friends, but like, I remember her even telling me then, like she'd be like, people are so inappropriate on this.
They are.
You know? And I think like as parents, I don't know, like I've seen some parents who it's just easier to ignore like your kid's phone or your tablet or whatever, you know, like, or they'll be like, oh, I check it like 2 times a month. Like, no, like, I don't know. Kids are so smart now that there's just like, if they know how to hide apps, like
your niece, do you want to tell them what she was doing with her homework?
Oh my God, not Destiny. So one day I was like, she was at the kitchen table and I'm like cooking her something to eat for lunch. And she's like telling Siri, hey Siri, what's 5 times whatever? And I'm like, what is homegirl doing? And she's like, well, I didn't know. I'm like, she's using her phone to do her math homework. I'm like, girl, no. And I'm like, don't you dare. And I told her, and she got in trouble. Her mom got her in trouble. But she's like, dude, Destiny's smart though. I'm like, yeah, she is. She's smart. But we gotta be like, she can't be doing
She's smart enough to be lazy?
Yeah. I'm like, girl, like, Siri's all good. But I'm like, no, like, I don't know. Kids just have a lot of, they're very accessible to like the phone now. Like, I was telling, I don't know if I was telling you, I was telling somebody, my friends were trying to record a TikTok the other day, and he was like, I don't know how to do it. And I was like, dude, Destiny knows how to record TikTok videos. So then our friend was like, it's always the little kids that know how to do this stuff. I'm like, it is, but like, I think as like the adults, like you have to be on top of this. Like, I know sometimes I watch YouTube videos on like games that Destiny's currently playing because I just want to know that I'm like, I want to know that there's like no chat rooms or if there is like how you disable them, or if she's going to be talking to people, it's okay for her to talk to like her cousins that also have, you know, like I know at one point when she was staying with me, I would ask, like I went through her usernames. I'm like, who is this? Like, and she told me like, oh, it's my cousins. For some reason, I didn't believe her. I'm like, what if she's lying? She was having like a whole conversation and I text like my cousin. I'm like, is this your daughter's username? And she's like, yeah, that's her. I'm like, okay. You're safe. But you can never be too careful.
No, you can never be too sure.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just be aware. Oh, no, I was talking about, like, when you were telling me about Destiny, like,
what did you do?
How she would...
I'm be doing everything.
I know, but, like, how she would resave the file.
Oh, my God. This homegirl. Okay, so my sister... I'm like, okay, so the teacher kept...
Oh, in case your kids do this?
I know, like, okay, let me put you on, because, like, for a while, my sister was getting upset because the teacher kept messaging her, like, hey, Destiny isn't turning in the homework. And then we would check her missing assignments, and it would say everything would be turned in. So my sister, like a little firecracker, and she was like, dude, like, I'm going to tell the teacher something because, like, there's no missing assignments. And so like Destiny's like, I did it, Mom, I did it. And the teacher, do you hear the cornman? That's the cornman. That's the elotero. He's like this.
Not even Valentine's anymore.
Oh yeah, I was like, if you want an elote, go right now. This is the second time they come. But the teacher kept telling my sister until one day the teacher figured out what Destiny was doing. So she was turning in her homework, but the slides where she, because they're like PowerPoint slides. I don't know if Gabe's is like that, yeah?
Is it like Google?
Like Google?
Is that Google? Google slides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the homework, like the slides that she was
assigned to do. I did his assignment last night.
I was like, I don't know all this. Dude, my cousin does that to work.
I have to work.
Because she's like, I'm tired of the teacher messaging me. Like my cousins, like it's funny to hear them talk because they're like, the freaking teacher do it. She'd be like telling me like they get mad at their kids because the teacher is messaging them, you know. So the teacher finally figured out what Destiny was doing. So Destiny was like deleting the homework slides. Like she was doing like Control X, I think. I don't know. She even knew how to do the shortcut.
I can't.
And so she would still turn in the assignments. That's why, like, they weren't missing when, like, the teacher would look. But when she would review the slides, like, well, the slide wasn't there. So then she told my sister, like, I think I'm, like, under the impression that Destiny's deleting the homework slides. So my sister confronted Destiny and, like, what she confessed, you know. And then one day I was like, girl, this girl's sneaky. And, like, I like to, like, ask her later, like, why she did it. Because she is honest. Like, she'll tell you why she did it. And I was like, Destiny, like, why were you doing that? And she was like, well, it's kind of the teacher's fault. I'm like, what?
She pulled a Tabby?
Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean it's the teacher's fault? And she's like, well, yeah, she told us how to do the shortcut. It's Control X. Like one time she showed us how to delete a slide when she was going over something. So it's kind of her fault. I'm like, no. I'm like, it is not her fault. Like you should have been doing your homework. But
she enabled me to cheat.
Yeah. She gave me the resources and the tools to delete.
And I wrote it down.
I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that shortcut of Control X. But yeah, like kids are sneaky. Like I never thought that like that's what she was doing. But then my sister found out that like you can do like on Google Meets, like there's like, I don't know, she told me one day because I had to restore the slides because it goes to like the last saved like the last edit, which is the teacher's, not hers. So you're able to still restore like the stuff that she deleted. And that's how we had to get her to, like, restore everything. And she had to do all her homework, all her missing assignments. But, yeah, we had to, like, the teacher messaged my sister, like, at least 3 times until we figured out, like, what was, like, you know, Destiny she wasn't confessing. She was like, I'm turning them in.
She didn't know?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So her lying face, her poker face is good then.
Her poker face is good. And I was like, well, she's turning them in. Maybe she'd be like, there's a glitch or something. Like, you know, kids, that's like their word. Oh, there's a glitch.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what she was doing. So parents, be careful.
Y'all need to stay ready because these kids
are freaking smart.
All right, amiga, is that all the advice we have for this week? I feel like we threw some knowledge today.
I know we did. We're dropping facts on y'all. No, I think that's it, amiga. Yeah. If you guys want more advice,
we're gonna start writing a column now.
Oh my god! Hopefully
like Dear Abby.
Yeah, like hopefully one day, like people can submit their questions and we can talk. That'd be pretty neat. So
that'd be a good one.
Yeah, if you guys want to do that, hey,
let us know. All right, take care, guys.
Bye, guys. Stay safe.
Yes.
Bye, amigos.
Bye, amigas.